Hello everyone, I'm Omega Zero and we are and this is
Late Night CJ, aka Sweet Daddy in the streets.
and we are finally getting to Invincible Season 1 Episode 2.
I want to say this before we go in there. It has been my fault. I've been working a lot lately, so I had to buckle down and engage in the situation. So
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Yeah, and this, since I have school going on and a bunch of stuff coming up, this might be either going out sooner or later, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes,
But overall, before we really get into anything, what did you think of Episode 2?
Okay.
In a vacuum.
Well,
We're not going to compare it to Episode 1.
Before we go to the vacuum, I'm gonna tell you something that I kind of was gonna text you about it, but I was like, I'm gonna save it for the podcast. I am really, after 2 episodes, remember I told you, I said I will check out of a series, a movie, or any of that if it doesn't grab me.
Yeah.
And this, if you can intellectually get past the enormous amount of cheesiness that they kind of throw in there, and pick up the substance of it. Like, remember we were talking about episode 1 about how they had like the kind of corny little, oh yeah, that's their fake Aquaman, he looks like a fish.
Yeah,
Or it's Omni-Man, that's Superman. You get past that, if you don't get caught up in that web starting out watching this, it's actually very, that's the
we
gardener.
apologize in advance. We have our gardener coming around here cutting grass.
It's definitely a very smart, smartly written series. And the other day I was just so tired, but I had planned on binge watching, but I wanted to give it my undivided attention, and there was a possibility I could have like dozed off, and I was like, nah. I want to commit to it, and the fact that I'm committing to a quote-unquote cartoon, comic style, anime-infused type show at my age is a testament to it. Now, in a vacuum, the way they put it together, it definitely is an attention grabber. And I like that, because I told you, I am notorious for checking out. Also, like
he is.
Like the series, please don't hate me for this. What's Sons of Anarchy? Checked out quick on that. Everybody loves that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Checked out on that amazingly quick. But then that show Dexter, for those that know what I'm talking about, I binge watched 8 seasons in a week.
Jeez.
Just any free time I had, if I'm watching it on my phone, so it grabbed me and I wanted more. And this series is not as intense as that, but it's definitely in that path.
We'll see, because like it's all coming back to me now, because
Yes.
I binged on a single day.
See? Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a lot of time. But then again, I was up late playing video
You
games.
watched a season in a day. So what's so crazy about me binge watching 8 seasons in a week? Okay.
It was middle of the night, me playing video games and all that. But going into what I think of it, this episode and the series as a whole, I think it's in comparison to the rest of the series, it kind of helps set the tone, but also kind of feels a little, and I say a little, about 5 to 10% a little fillery.
Well, and this is where I say they get deep. Now, I'm looking at it from a standpoint that like I said, I studied film. It has an undertone message. And for me, this is now, I could be totally reaching. That's my caveat. I could be reaching like Space Jam Michael Jordan when he done it. Okay? But it was how if you can't keep up with the time, evolution of time can surpass you. Like they're sitting there while you're just trying to figure out step A, other individuals who embrace, say, technology in this aspect will be decades in front of you. You must be able to keep up with the times just to keep up with the pace of things. Like, because they would come back every 3 days. And
well, hold up, because we're talking about that. We actually get into like the whole plot now.
Well, I'm just saying, you must be able to keep up.
You have to keep up, and in this case, be prepared.
It's very layered. It's like, I'm looking at it like, did you catch that? Did you catch? Okay.
Moving into the actual plot of the episode, this one's kind of to establish help crush. What was the son's name?
Invincible.
No, like his actual name, Mark.
Mark.
It's kind of helped crush his worldview of like being a hero isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's
not a parade and everybody loves you. It's like no.
It's kind of like what happened during Avengers Civil War, where due to the battle that they were having, civilians died, but in this case they don't get mad because like everyone in this world civilians are going to die in like.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did you catch the fact? Remember, the dad, Omni-Man, said that he was chosen to be the protector of the galaxy, right?
Protector of Earth, I believe, not the galaxy.
Earth. In this episode, when he finds out certain things, we'll move into that. There were more protectors.
Oh yeah.
Than just Omni-Man. Omni-Man might have been the optimum, the apex.
He might be the one for Earth, but well, this is a spoiler for the comic. So 3, 2, 1. They're basically the older a Viltrumite, which is a species gets, the more powerful they are, which is like the reverse of us.
Right.
Because we have like a weak period as baby, kid, then we have like it gets strong, and then we basically go back to weak. It's a reverse. It's like where they kind of start off weak, sure, and they just get stronger, and they could look like my grandfather and like CJ's dad, and still be strong enough to, excuse my word, and hear Pip Mac someone across the planet.
Right.
Now,
as he did when he went later on, but we'll keep.
But this episode kind of starts off with the crew, or like basically like this world's like, I guess Shield Service is like the most equivalent.
Hey, were they bringing those people, trying to bring those people back to life when they collected?
They tried to bring one of them back to life because his name's literally the Immortal, and he is literally immortal.
Right.
The closest comparison that we have, I actually found out I was wrong in the last podcast. The Immortal is Vandal Savage from DC, except if he was good. Because Vandal Savage basically has like the same backstory, except he's evil.
See, that's what I said. Is once you get past that aspect and you start looking at it, it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. Like it's the classic coming of age type story.
Yeah. In this case, Mark. This episode primarily revolves around a few different subplots, and like the main quote-unquote plot is like the alien invasion and like the deconstruction of Mark's view of what a superhero is, being like all sunshine roads that you can't save everyone, not everyone's gonna be safe and protected. Like it's even like a little
old lady.
Ooh, yeah, like it's a main old lady. I don't believe you ever find out her name or anything. And he's still...
Yeah, because when he came in there and he was like, what's her face? Like Martha or something like that, and they was like, I thought y'all said she was gonna make it, and they was
like, we said she might not make it. There's no guarantee. Yeah, it's like, like the whole part.
What was up with the fake Hellboy?
The fake, he is a, he's a demon detective, but I forget his name. Like Hellblood or something, I think or something close to it. He does look like Hellboy, except if Hellboy kind of got a dad bod and was a detective. But I still find him very entertaining.
Yeah.
Damien Darkblood, I think it was.
Something like that.
Something like that. I'll probably put it here.
Right there.
Yeah, but he's essentially a detective, and he's trying to figure out who killed the Guardians of the Globe, and like how is Omni-Man the only one to survive?
I just want to know with Omni-Man, like when he tells a story about what happened, and I'm like, okay, what I saw and what you're saying is not. It's matching, but it's not.
Well, that's the point. Like what we saw in the previous episode, he's deliberately lying, obviously, and what he's trying to say is like, all right, look, they got the call. I also got the call. Lights went out basically. Someone showed up, kicked all our butts, and I only survived barely because of how strong I am.
Yeah, well, the story is he came in there, set it off, and crushed and mangled and victimized the whole crew and the staff.
Well, that's the point. Like, he's lying, but we don't. At this point, I know what happens, but.
And this is also, like I said, makes me intrigued and curious. Okay, so I gotta keep watching in order to find out.
Like, why is he lying?
Right.
Is there a reason?
Protecting somebody?
Was he mind controlled?
Did he just not like him? Is there some kind of backstory of like, man, I never liked these cats, man,
y'all suck.
Clout chasers, you know what I mean?
But yeah, it goes in the comic. I believe like it's like I said, it's like completely one-sided in the comic. But this one they kind of string it along, and they're basically at this point they're also trying to recruit for the new Guardians of the Globe, and it's also established that there is multiple.
Who is the dude with the
suit,
with the face, jacked up face?
Cecil is basically this world's equivalent of Nick Fury, which is like the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. He basically runs a government organization to help protect the Earth, but also has countermeasures in case in the event of
the mutants go rogue.
Well, mutants or the superheroes go rogue, or if they face a super threat, primarily super threat. Because you'll see it later. I won't spoil what happens.
Please don't.
Points come up to say that. But and this whole we get introduced to a wide assortment of characters.
Before you go there, I kind of see where you're going with Amber. So, but continue. Continue.
Yeah. Well, that's what. At the end of the series, of this like little mini room, maybe we'll talk about it, maybe we won't. It kind of depends. As someone who hasn't been in a relationship and seen this from like a neutral point of view, and my father who has been in a relationship, seeing it from his point of view.
I feel like, and I hate this term, I'm like, she's clout chasing. It's like, what's your angle? Why are you here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, she's just showing up. She's like, hey, I'll give you my number. And it's like, why? You just hated his guts, and he was like a fly on the wall just a day or two ago. I think
the perfect comparison to this is that someone said she feels like she's trying to be a homewrecker without being a homewrecker. Because the only reason she seemed to be interested in Mark... the only reason she seemed to be interested in Mark is because he showed an interest in Eve. And when they found out she was gay, she immediately moved in.
And that was the whole thing, too. Now that we've, crossed over into Eve, it was like I said, going back to originally what I said about Omni-Man, it's like, okay, she made mention that there's even like teenage crews of these superpowered people, and the whole time while I'm watching the episode 1, I thought it was just him. Yeah. And then you had the Guardians of the Globe.
They were superheroes, but they're just like more independent. But they were like.
But they almost seem like anomalies. Like, okay, those are just like some fringe type. I am the Omni-Man. I'm the one. This is my galaxy. But then it's like, well, then she starts talking about the team,
and then like 4 other ones.
All on Instagram. Oh, they're not as good as us. And I'm like, wait, so the Omni-Man is just the apex?
Omni-Man is basically like if you had Superman, and then you had like Justice League, they have like Justice Society.
Then you got Teen Titans Go down here.
Yeah, like Teen Titans. Like you get basically unless like this happens with almost every universe that has like a long established superheroes or superheroes that have been around for a long time. Like they got the top dog, basically just Superman. And then they kind of have like several teams here or there. More than several. It's like they got one for like each little area of the globe. Like I do remember like DC had like one where like they had like operation like in China. They had one in I believe Europe as well. But stuff like that.
this watch me go old man on you right now is as a father, you try to prepare your children to step out into the world and be grown adults and responsible. And so finally, when you allow them to step out, and then they realize like, hold up, I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready. Like when he was like, I can go over there and say and go with the aliens.
Oh yeah, these aliens. Like I said, Mark never really wins a fight.
Right.
Against like, alright, let me phrase that. He never wins a fight against like a named person.
Right. So
if it's jobbers, well, yeah, because he basically sort of Superman.
So then he runs out in there and he freezes up at the first line of action. The lady gets mangled. Boom. He's like, ah!
Well, to be fair though, he's lived his life as a normal human up until this point. It's like if you took someone. Like, say if you took someone like me, yeah, I'm desensitized to a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go out there into, like, a fight and go like, whoa, hold up. Or someone like my brother who, like, acts indifference.
You know what was hilarious? Yeah. When he was like, his dad said, oh, you got this?
Okay.
Yeah, go up there and talk to that guy up there. Just beat him up real good and send him back to where he came from. And the dude was like, so this isn't this is
yeah, I think this is after the first, after like the first or second alien attack. Because by the way, I say the aliens are the main plot, but they're not really the main plot.
His dad knew.
He's like, oh yeah. I was like, okay. This guy, particularly Alan the alien, is kind of funny because him and Mark, they do have their little spat, and like Alan's like, "Oh, you were stronger last time." Like, wait, what? I've never even fought you. And he's like, "Wait, you're using timeout rules?"
Yeah.
And Mark's like, "There's timeout rules."
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
And he grabs the rock and he goes.
He just drops it. He's like,
yeah. I got him. He goes, and
I'm like, "This is Earth."
And he goes, "Wait."
And he does like the slow little eye roll. He's like, oh, I messed up. And it's actually it is funny.
And it was like, okay, I can see Earth. He's like, this is Earth. That's Earth. He's like, oh.
He's like, it's like that employee who make the wrong shit. He's like, oh, I messed up. And like that's a good part of the series. Like it is primarily like pretty violent and drama based, but there is good bits of comedy here and there. It's like, especially like I said, with like we were just talking about with Alan the alien and Mark just fighting out in space.
Yeah. He had to hold his breath the entire time.
And like they have telepathic communication. I'm like,
yeah. He's like, how are you talking to me? He's like, are you talking to my brain? He goes, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Like it's just like, okay.
And that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And on a grandiose scale, I'm gonna say this for anybody, like for the age groups that are watching this. Never judge a book by its cover, because by all metrics, I'm supposed to hate this. Mm-hmm. Like literally, anime, comic, young people stuff, all this type of thing. I'm in my age group. I'm supposed to totally just be like, oh, that's young people stuff. Yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
I am intrigued beyond
like
compared. Yeah. I am, and I would encourage anybody that just kind of wants to dip their toe in this pool. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, but do not, like I said, do not get caught up in the cheese, you know, for lack of a better term. I don't want to call it cheesy, but for like somebody they would look at that.
I guess like the most stereotypical aspects of like a comic book show.
It's like don't get lost in that. Just let it ride. Let it play. It's like a song. Like imagine an orchestra type song. It's like, no, you gotta let it play. There's a crescendo coming, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah, your parts rising up. It's like, oh, yeah, it's getting to the good part.
It's getting there. And with each episode, that crescendo is starting to come closer and closer.
And I guess we should kind of, like, talk about this. I guess primarily, we were talking about everything else but the alien invasion. Case in point, these aliens invade for particularly, like, no reason. It's, like I said earlier, it's just to kind of, like, destroy Mark's worldview of being a superhero, being all sunshines and rainbows.
And he must be able to keep up.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to foreshadow without saying too much.
Yeah.
You must keep up, otherwise this world that he's accustomed to is constantly evolving. There's a new enemy villain coming every day, and each time you see him, it'll be stronger than the last one.
And case in point, it was, because when the aliens first show up, they stay here for like 1 to 2 minutes in like real, I'd say in real time it's probably longer.
But those are decades for them.
Decades, because they're like,
yeah, a minute is 10 years, so when you get to like 5 minutes, you've just aged 50 years.
And then they die off, they leave, we have more story, they come back, they have like these bracelets now that slow down their aging while they're here. And then we got
Robot. What kind of name is Robot? And
he's like,
robot.
he's literally a robot.
It's like, you're nuts. He's nuts and bolts.
It's like, what would you call him?
He's like, actually, I have magnetic connections. I don't have nuts and bolts.
Like, it's like
he
dry.
Was offended.
He wasn't offended. It's dry. It's dry humor.
Yeah,
it's just like,
actually,
I don't have nuts and bolts.
Yeah, he's like, I have magnetic connections. Okay,
well, which is funny. It's like. And then Mark gets his, I think it's this fight that Mark gets like his rage boost, which does happen. Like, sense of desperation out of me was in there.
What happened that? Because I remember he like tackled the guy.
He tackled the guy
into the wall. What was that? What triggered him?
I think they were about to kill Adam Eve, and he wasn't dating Amber. I think he starts to date her at the end of the
episode. What's up with the Adam Eve thing? The name Adam Eve. She has like the female symbol.
I have no idea.
Is she supposed to be like transgender or something?
No.
Are they thought Adam and Eve?
Most
male, female has the
Atom and Eve. Not
but
really.
She has the female symbol and it's crossed out, and it's like, but you're a female, so it's like that non-binary.
I don't know, because it's never really explained. I guess it's like she's essentially, like I said, her power set in the comics more blatant. She's just basically just kind of God, in a sense.
There it is.
I say in a sense because her powers literally allow her to do anything.
Right.
In the show so far, she just shoots off like laser bolts in a sense.
And her her the shield thing, it's actually instinctual. She doesn't go shield. It's like someone was about to hit her and just said and then blocked it off.
Yeah.
Part of it.
But yeah, Mark's rage boost. He tackles the alien. He's ever-loving crap out of him. And they retreat, and dude has like a scar, like, oh, retreat, and Robot figures out, oh, destroy all the bracelets, they'll super...
starts beating the guy up.
Yeah. They retreat again, we get more story. I believe Alan actually shows up at this time, or one in between the two parts, because, like I said...
Sorry for kicking your butt!
And then the third time, because like I said, like, everything, the rule of 3... the aliens come back. This time they're basically super prepared, and they just killing off everyone. Like I said, we're introduced to like side characters, and we're given like kind of like the setup for who's going to be the new Guardians of the Globe by the end of the episode. But by the end, Nolan, Omni-Man, he makes a full recovery. He's like, he's not a top condition. And they're like, alright, now it's time to beat up the aliens for real. Like, okay, we got Omni-Man, we good.
That was a thing, like, remember when we used to play basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every night, we'd be shooting around, we'd be at the gym or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'd just be kicking it. Just like, oh, I'm here with my son, just kind of, and then somebody would trigger me, and I'd be like, son, sit this one out. You're going to sit this one out. Let me show you how this works. And I feel that's what Omni-Man did. He was like, I got this.
Yeah, like, the aliens, they attack, but when Omni-Man shows up, like, oh, it's him, but stronger. Let's leave. And Omni-Man's like, they're good. I'm probably in his head thinking these guys are going to be a threat. Let me go make sure they, like, let me stop either neutralize them or try to persuade. What we think is try to persuade them, but if you saw the end of the first episode, he goes there, he gets sent to their dimension, and then we have like one of the best lines, like, let me tell you this, Earth isn't yours to conquer. And it's like, oh!
Runs it through like 5 walls.
And dude's like, the dude has like a little bit of his body left. Yeah. Like literally, it's his upper torso. At like the midway point, he runs it through some more walls, and it's literally just like his head, like not even his head, like part of his face, and then Someone made a joke that the reason that people thought they called him Omni-Man is because he committed omnicide.
Killed everything and everybody.
He did on that planet, basically.
Yeah.
He ran through like going. I want to say all like past supersonic, definitely, because he was going choo 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 choo.
Yeah, it is. On a deeper concept level, is Omni-Man low-key void of like real compassion? Because he almost has a narcissistic, like, yeah, this is my son, but it's like, but I'm Omni-Man. You know what I'm saying? Like, because his wife is she like they got this weird. Not I won't say weird. That was a bad choice of words. They have like
it's a unique relationship.
Unique, but like where she's like, yeah, Dad's going to fight some aliens and think, oh, he'll be back for dinner.
It's like, well, she's been around him for like years at this point, almost 20.
She healed him up faster than the hospital did.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, I know what he's been through. I know what he's like, all right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
I've never seen him like, except for the time where he was explaining like, the only time I seen him show real emotion was like when he was talking to his wife about like, okay, he's about to come into his powers and I don't know.
It's kind of the way I see it.
Like, did he want fear exposing him to this world that he's been sheltered from?
I think that's kind of the point. Like, he probably does it, but probably like maybe it's leading up to something, or maybe he's just acting like he wants to not like shows, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like typical, like he's fine, he's strict, or he's kind of like joking around in some areas. Yeah. It's like it was like, yeah, he jokes around a little bit. I think like, have they had a training session at this point? Really?
Yeah, when he was about to punch him.
He was like, all right, punch me. He's like, yeah, training's like.
Miz is like, oh, it was when he was kind of low key healed, and then he goes, but you gotta know how to take a punch, and he was about to sock him, and she's like, hey. Come on down there. He just almost landed it on him.
And that's why I say, you can probably see he's at training session like, look, I'm going to hold back. And I'm strong, but you might find they may not hold back.
Wow. They're going to try to kill you.
They're going to try to kill you, and that's the whole point. It's like, this episode's, like I said, like 10% fillery.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's mainly used to deconstruct Mark's worldview, set up, like, there's going to be constant threats, like you said. A little bit of the love triangle thing,
well,
sort of.
The reason why I said is he void of that emotion is because Mark is, compared to his dad, is overly sensitive. Like, he's like, hey man, stop. Like, or when he was caring for the old lady.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Omni-Man would have been like, okay, just get the old lady to safety. Now let's kick some more butt. But he was like stuck on the fact that this lady was mangled all in this ditch, and he was like he had, you know,
he took her to the secret organization's place. Like, hey, can you heal her up? And you can say he's probably more human,
right,
than Omni-Man, because Omni-Man, like you said, I'm an alien. I came here. Your mom.
There's no connection to it.
Like, there's no super.
Right.
Like, there's some connection, but not really.
It's
like,
just like, say, if you were to move to New York. Now, we won't say where we're at, but say you move to New York. You're like, oh yeah, this is nice, but it's not like home. So, like, if something were to happen, it's like, oh man, I wouldn't want something bad to happen here, but I'd be way more affected if it happened to where I'm at.
Yeah.
So his connection with Earth is there, but it's not home.
It's not home, because it really wasn't his home.
Right.
But, yeah, like, going back to, like, Omni-Man, he
like
basically, Omni-Man basically genocides the whole race, and holds them hostage, like, build me another portal, send me back, and without talking, and he holds, like, a giant mountain over them, over, like, the last night. He's like, oh, they built a portal? Okay, see ya. It drops the mountain on them.
Drops it anyway.
And, like, bye. And then he just walks home, like, and he's like, hey.
You know the crazy thing about this is, I hope somebody involved with that hears this. What is it where they act like the show is over, and then he's like, if you
stay a little bit.
Yeah, but if you don't stay, it's like, wait, there's like a whole another 5 minutes, because I hit pause. And I'm like, wait, what are you gonna, there's 7 minutes left, or something like that.
I blame Marvel for this to an extent, because Marvel started doing this way back then with like their post-credit scene, or like in between the credit scenes, like, oh, do you see anything what happens? See what happens? And that's why everyone at the end of Infinity War was like staying in the theater when we all went, except my dad because he was still working for the railroad at the time.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Is it going to be post-credit scene? Is it going to be post-credit scene? No post-credit scene." Like, oh man, we just wasted 10 minutes.
Yeah. 'Cause that's what happened. It would be like, it was a whole nother scene, and I'm like, oh.
I think it's the one where Damien Darkblood's like trying to. He's starting to put it together. Like,
I kind of dug whenever they start breathing. You can see like the fog coming out of their mouth, and then like they just appear over their shoulder.
Well, he is. Well, in this case, he literally is a demon.
Yeah.
So canonically, in the Omni-Man universe, there's a heaven and a hell, because he's a demon who does not want to go to hell. He's like, do good things. I stay out. I stay out. I stay out of hell longer.
Like Hellboy.
And I'm not literally saying the word hell because I can. It's literally a place that exists in the show.
Yeah, it's like McDonald's. You don't just call it the burger place because you it's like, no, it's McDonald's. Same thing as
right. Where the hell is this? Which makes me wonder if they'll actually bring in something from heaven later in the series. Whether it be in the comic, I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a brief came out. I was like, oh hey, I'm checking up on your planet. Turns out your planet's full of sin. God's gonna erase it.
I'm just waiting to see who Omni-Man submits to, because right now he is Superman in like the literal sense. Like he's super, he's omni, he's everything. He has every attribute, but every superhero has their kryptonite.
In a sense, right? Yeah. Like, they kind of have to, because if you don't do that, it makes them seem too overpowered. In this case, like, if Omni-Man literally had no weaknesses, which in case of point, I don't... do they? I'm not sure.
So far.
And like, I don't know if it's in the comic or not, but probably. To say they get older with age or something like that. But I don't think they ever expose a weakness for him, other than the fact that in the show they kind of nerfed him from the comic.
We'll see.
But with that, we've gone over our kind of jumbled.
I'll take this episode 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like phenomenal. And I'm a harsh critic.
Yeah.
I give it a strong 7.5. Based upon what I'm anticipating to come next. Like you said, it was fillery in certain parts, but it wasn't to the point where it's just like, okay, I could have skipped this whole episode and not lost anything.
Yeah. And that's where I agree with you. It's like, it's a 7.5, maybe a 7, because like I said, like it's a little fillery. We do get introduced to a few other side characters in Cecil, who is basically like Nick Fury. We get Eve, the team, which
her boyfriend is a jerk too.
What was his name? Some people used to say
I didn't go to high school.
Well, he actually did go to high school in the comics because well, they'll probably explain it later in the series. I know what happens in the comics, but he actually did. He actually had a messed up childhood. But he's a jerk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he knows that Eve.
Duplicate, which is
well, yeah, how they can split up. I'm like, and he was like, which one do I talk to? Which one? I mean, that they could have dealt with that, but that
like you said, they're side characters at the point. Like, oh yeah, you're trying to figure out about them. But I like Robot. He has a dry sense of humor. It's hilarious. And that was our review of season 1, episode 2 of Invincible. Was it jumbled, kind of jumping here and there?
Yeah,
but that's kind of always the point of these podcasts. But with that, I'm Maggie Zero.
I am Late Night CJ, aka Sweet Daddy, in the streets.
And we'll catch you guys next time.